Hi everyone, I hope all is well with you. Ryan, bringing you another video, and today's topic is how to optimize learning repertoire for an upcoming gig, show, or performance. So this can be quite a time-consuming process. You might have a couple of gigs coming up, and each of them you have 20 to 30 songs to learn. So it can be quite overwhelming having to learn so many things, and sometimes we want to be working on our own things, our own personal drumming goals. So I found a routine that really helps me streamline this process. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And hopefully it can help you save some time while learning the repertoire that you need to. So the first thing you'll need is a recording device of some sort to capture the audio of the repertoire that you need to learn. So the most common one is probably just a smartphone. You can just use a microphone app or voice memos or whatever you need and just hit record the rehearsal, and then hit stop. Another recording device that's great is a Zoom. So this is just the Zoom H1N handy recorder. And these are great as well because you can just carry these around. They're pretty small and portable. You can just set a good level, hit record, hit stop, and then you basically just use a micro SD card. You will need some sort of reader to put into your computer to upload it, but you do get really, really good quality that's going to be better than a smartphone. And if you've got the equipment, using an audio interface with a bunch of microphones will be obviously your best quality. However, I think this is quite a large setup for just a rehearsal. So if you've got a permanent setup, that's great. But if not, I don't think it's necessary for learning repertoire, because the quality doesn't matter too much if it's just you listening to it. The option I personally use, I think, is the best middle ground of all of these, which is using a Zoom that plugs straight into your iPhone. So this is the Zoom IQ7, and it just uses the lightning adapter and it just plugs straight into your iPhone. And this is great because then you get Zoom level audio quality and you can record it straight into your device, and then it's easily shareable to your bandmates. You can upload it and do more with the footage, which we're going to discuss in a minute. So I think this is the best option if you can and saves the most time. Otherwise, just record with a recording app on your phone. Or if you're feeling very fancy, you can use the audio interface option and record straight into your computer. So step 2 is have a physical rehearsal take place. So this step's pretty obvious, and I'm sure you'll do this anyways, but gather around with your band members, do your rehearsal. One thing I'd really recommend is playing through the songs in full takes. So this will really help with the memorizing process if you play them from start to finish, and you'll be able to also see where the songs start and finish. We'll talk about this in a later step. So do the physical rehearsal and try as much as you can to run the song in full takes without stopping. So the third step is having a DAW or digital audio workstation to import your audio into. So if you recorded straight using an audio interface into something like Logic or Ableton, then you can skip this step. If not, then basically if you use the Zoom, then you'll need to put the SD card into an SD card reader, put that into your computer and drag and drop the file into Logic. If you used an iPhone, which I personally use with the mic or doing a voice memo, then you can just simply airdrop it to your MacBook, or use something like Dropbox or Google Drive to upload the file and then download it in your computer. There are plenty of digital audio workstations out there. You've got things like Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton. There's plenty out there. I personally got Logic when I bought my MacBook, so I find that really easy to use, but it doesn't really matter. There's probably plenty of free or cheaper options out there, or if you've already got one or already purchased one, then I'd recommend using that. So the next phase is slicing or cutting up the rehearsal to optimize learning. So we're gonna head over to the computer for this one so that you can see what I'm doing. Alrighty, so now we're in Logic. We're just going to drag and drop our file, whether we've downloaded it or used it, from Dropbox, or if we've just airdropped it across, we're just going to drag and drop that into Logic. Okay, once the file's in, it'll just take a few moments for the waveforms to show up while it's analyzing the file. So I usually just zoom out here, just so we can get an overview of the rehearsal. And as you can see, where there's sort of a big chunk of waveform, that's where we know that we've done a full take of the song, and the smaller chunks are probably just running the ends of sections or solo sections or whatever it might be. So we're just going to go through now, and if you press the letter T in Logic, and then we're going to go to the scissors tool or letter I, different digital audio workstations will have their own ways of slicing and cutting up audio. So I'm just using Logic here. So we're just going to go in, probably zoom in a bit more so we can get a more accurate cut. And we're just going to cut at the start of the wave file and at the end there. And then if I double click T again to get my pointer tool, we're just going to delete. And we just go through systematically and anything. So for example, this is a small wave file. So this is probably running the ending again, or something like that. So I'm not going to bother putting that in my audio recording because I just want to get the full takes of everything. So we're just going to go through and delete as we go. So I'm just going to do that now. Some things to watch out for are really quiet sections, as you see here. This is probably just where we bring it down dynamically, so probably want to keep that in. But sometimes it might just be stopping and starting, so you can have a listen to the recording just to check if you want to keep that in or not. So now we have our full takes of everything we played from the rehearsal with all of the stuff we don't want in the recording cut out. So now if you just click on one of these and go Command A or select all, we just want to go to Edit, Move, and Shuffle Left. So I created a little shortcut for this so I can do it quickly, but that's what we want to do. Edit, Move, Shuffle Left, and that'll bring all the recordings across. And now if we look at the timer up the top here, see that? All right, so it started off as a 2-hour recording, and we can see here this is 58 minutes. It just ticks over the hour, a couple of minutes, about 4 minutes. So we've cut out almost an hour there. You know, so if you were going to listen through a whole rehearsal, there's going to be a lot of stop-starting, rerunning sections and things like that. So this way we kind of cut all of that out and we just get to the stuff we need to learn. And that way our 2-hour rehearsal recording is now down to 1 hour, which means that that's going to save a lot of time when listening back or running to your songs. So one bonus way you can do, if you press Ctrl X in Logic, it brings up this remove silence. So I personally don't use this. I like to manually cut it myself, just because sometimes if there's, 2-bar breaks or things like that, it can get a little trickier to navigate. But essentially here you set the minimum threshold and anything below that will be removed. I'd recommend checking out some YouTube tutorials and things like that on how to use this, but that's just a bonus thing if you want a deeper look at it. That can also save you a little bit more time again. So now we would just go export. So I'd usually just go File, Export, and Selection as audio file. You can save that wherever you want. I would usually actually just upload it straight to Dropbox from my computer and then save it offline for listening. So now we've got our nice and polished recording that's gone from a 2-hour rehearsal down to a 40-minute back-to-back performance of each song. So now all we have to do is export the song to something like Dropbox or our music app on our phone or Google Drive so that it's easily accessible when you're traveling. So I'll always save the file offline. That way I don't chew up any excess data while I'm traveling. So I personally find that listening to the repertoire over and over really helps me to internalize and memorize the songs that I need for the upcoming show. And you can do this wherever you are. You can do this while you're waiting for the bus. You can do this while you're working out at the gym, while you're just going for a walk, while you're traveling or commuting to work, anything really, any time that you are able to listen. And now you have integrated regular listening to the repertoire for the upcoming show without actually scheduling or blocking off any time during your week for dedicated repertoire learning. So I would usually start learning and listening a few days before the gig or on the week of the gig. And I would try and do this every day if I can, while I'll probably be traveling once at least that day. So I'll try and listen to the full recording there and back. And then I will usually on the day or the day before the gig, just have one full playthrough of the repertoire that I need, just to check that I've internalized and memorized the repertoire. And I find that this really works for me. You might need to adjust this level a little bit, and especially depending on the difficulty of the song, you may need to start this process weeks leading up to the gig. So a quick recap, you need a recording device, which you'll use to record the rehearsal from start to finish, trying to play the songs through in full takes if you can. You're then going to import the audio to a program or a digital audio workstation such as Logic. Then you're going to slice up the rehearsal from start to finish of each song, cut out all the stuff in between so you've got a nice compact recording, and then you're going to save it onto your device and listen to it as much as you can and play along to it as needed. And hopefully this will help streamline the process and save you some time when learning repertoire for upcoming shows and gigs. So I hope you found today's lesson useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. If you have any great tips or tricks on learning and memorizing repertoire, I would love to know, so please drop a comment down below and it would be great to share that with the community. Thanks again for watching, I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful week and I'll see you in the next video.